Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and of course, drop a like on the video. We would be totally grateful. Interesting one this week, Thursday. Dazzler, how are you?
I'm all right. Sorry, I've just been, I just feel like I've woken up from slumber. Denmark 4-0 up, 2 from Rasmus Højlund, and 1 for Patrick Dorgu.
There you go.
Wow.
It's a good week for Man United, and we will be talking about it a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on some of the news that's broke over the last 2 days. So it's all in all nice to be talking about. Nice for you to be talking about Man United in a positive way. Yeah, absolutely.
We can't forget 2 for my pal Cody Gakpo tonight as well. The Netherlands needing 2-0 against Malta, 2 penalties.
There we go. Big Phil's in. How you, Phil? Hope you're good, pal.
Good man, Phil.
But we've an interesting one tonight. What we decided to do this week is, because we don't really follow the internationals, but we will keep you updated, of course, on the scores. We are going to have a little chat later on in the show about 2 of the topics that have come up for Man United. One, the talk of Ruben Amorim staying for 3 years. I'm going to get like a 3-year contract as Jim Ratcliffe. I'm now, Darren, you won't be too upset about that. And the other one, this talk of potentially a new owner coming in from the UAE, apparently. So interesting times. So we got your thoughts on both of them. But yeah, as I said, do you know what? I was only thinking about it when I was going into work the other day. Yesterday, I think it was, and I was thinking, so positive now about Man United, isn't it? Once you get a win going into an international break, the media just goes away, and then they look for stuff to put up, and it all seems positive at the moment. So, yeah.
Do you know what really bugs me about modern day football, and as much as anything about the fans, you know, like I'm watching some of these lads, and I saw Radcliffe's interview, obviously. Yeah. And I saw him say, you know, we need stability, and we're still working behind the scenes to try and build the kind of academy we want to be able to feed into the first team, and like stuff that we know, but stuff that they're saying the right things, you know. And then he talks about, like, you know, we can't just change our manager every week because some lad decides to have a kinippo, basically. Like they do it week to week. It's just so fickle. Lads just want to have something to make themselves relevant with. And I've said this for a long time. Anybody who speaks about Manchester United makes themselves relevant. So it's an easy kind of a subject and a topic where they go, oh, I think X, Y, and Z. And you're like, well, nobody asked you to think, pal. Like, you know, you failed miserably at this club, this club, this club, and this club. Like, why would you take, like, do you know what I mean? I'm listening to, there's and certain lads really rub you up the wrong way. And I'm going to tell you who one of those lads is, who really rubs me up the wrong way. And for some reason, he's just gotten a gig with Sky. And people seem to like this lad. And somebody said to me earlier, you know, he was a bricklayer before he was a footballer. And I was saying, he's thick as a brick. Charlie Austin. Stop talking, pal. Stop.
Oh, is this when they do the triple, where they bring in the creators?
This is the fan debate.
Yeah, where they from analysis or something. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
This is like pulling teeth with a rusty pliers. Like, it's just completely.
He's there just to kind of poke them, isn't he? He's there. He just keeps them.
Oh, that's all he's there for. And he's sitting there having a giggle. He thinks it's all chirpy, and you're like, if you don't have something intelligent to put forward, I kind of think maybe just step out, Charlie. Don't, you know? And like, I get he might be a nice character. He's a funny sort of a character, but he brings nothing to the table from a technical or tactical point of view. It's all just hyperbole and big shouting and getting very, very boisterous. And, you know, it's strange. Oh, no. 1-0 Greece, 62 minutes. Ouch.
And who got it? The Greek Scouser that used to be in our team.
And would you believe, I'm going to give a quick shout out, one of the lads off Brody's team popped up for training tonight in a Greece kit. And I says to him, I says, all right, Gianluca, what's the story? I says, why have we got the Greece kit on and not the Italian one? And he was like, no, I don't know. And I says, oh, okay. And it had Costa Simicas on the back of the jersey.
There we go. Win-win.
And there you go. He's just got the goal to put Greece 1-0 up against Scotland.
There we go. Right. Well, let's get into the show a little bit. Let's talk. So what the challenge was this week was we were going to turn around and do our Premier League 11s for the season so far. Now, I know it's only a small sample, 7 games or whatever, but we said we'd have a bit of fun. And even the two of us talking today on the phone, it was interesting, the challenge that it presented and the options that we had, and mad how like so many of the bigger teams, some of their players just didn't feature, namely my own Liverpool. That's for sure.
Well, there wasn't too many to name from my team either. Now, don't forget. So you know,
no, I don't think we either. I don't think we discussed either of our teams really. Even when we didn't do subs, but even if we extended to the sub bench, we were still struggling.
I have what I would describe as a list of honourable mentions.
Oh, I didn't do honourable mentions.
I did honourable mentions. You know, lads who were in a conversation, but didn't make the final 11. You know, because there can only be one 11. Let's, you know.
Yeah. So if you are in the chat, folks, let us know what you think so far your Premier League 11 is for the first 7 games, basically, of the season. Yeah. So, right, we'll bring up our 2 teams here. We were originally going to go with a 4-3-3. So I went with a 4-3-3. Darren went with a 4-2-3-1. Because he had different ideas of who he wanted to bring in and stuff like that.
Scotland 1-1. They're only down for 3 minutes and they're back in it. They are spurred into life. Ryan Christie with the goal. 62 minutes, Greece 1-0. 65 minutes, 1-1. Game on a hand.
Wonder who it was. Who was it?
Ryan Christie. Bournemouth, Ryan Christie.
Billy Gilmore just came on for Doak as well on 59.
Billy Gilmore and Tony Ralston came on for Aaron Hickey and Ben Doak. Yeah.
Interesting. Right, let's begin. Take us through your team here. A lot of it we agreed on, and I think it would be hard to argue probably with the ones we agreed on. You could make conversations about it, obviously, but what we did was, and I spoke to Darren about this today, not only did we look potentially statistically who did really, really well, and Darren looked at fantasy football and all that kind of stuff as well, but I also look back at some of the conversations we've had about how, like, maybe Sunderland, you know, who might have gotten beaten 3-0 in the game, say, for example, but they should have got beaten 7 or 8-0 only for the keeper. And
yeah.
We took things like that into account as well, you know, rather than just going with the obvious. You know, you could go with Arsenal's goalkeeper and Arsenal's back 4 or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So
absolutely. I think we've 6 of the same, have we?
1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6. We've 6.
Yeah, 6 the same.
We've 6 of the same. So we only really have 5 to converse about. I think Roofs for me has been excellent at Sunderland. Really, really has. Was Sunderland's best player at Old Trafford the last day. Obviously we won 2-0, but was definitely Sunderland's best player on the pitch that day. He got my vote and he got your vote. So that's kind of a tick and we move on. Something similar in the right back slot. Obviously, Yuri and Timber for me has been excellent offensively and defensively. So yeah, very, very good. He's got a great engine. He's a threat from set pieces. He's combative. Like, I can't really see a whole lot of faults in Yuri and Timber. He's so good, you know. Then I'm gonna just name Gabriel for both of us in the same spot. You know, I think Gabriel again picks himself. I think it's very, very easy to look at why Arsenal are where they are at the minute and look at that back line, you know. Raya was obviously an honourable mention for me. But I think Timber and Gabriel have been the mainstay so far for that Arsenal
for me, Gabriel is really that Arsenal captain, to be honest, I think.
Yeah, he's not a million miles away, you know. He doesn't wear the band, but that doesn't mean he's not certainly the on-field captain, you know. And then I suppose that's where I think I could have certainly gone with LaCroix and you could have absolutely gone with Gahey.
100%.
And it just so happened we went for opposites.
Yeah.
But both boys have been very, very good. For Palace, really, really good. You know, playing as part of the back 3 with the boy Chris Richards, the American kid. So doing really, really well. We know Palace are very difficult to beat. They're very good at the back and stuff like that. And I think LaCroix and Gahey are massive parts of that, you know.
Let us know, Romy, as well, if you've only joined us in the chat. What we're doing is we're doing our sort of Premier League 11s for the season so far. So let us know what you think of our choices, or what you would do different, or who else you would put in if we've missed
something. On to left back, I suppose for me, I think I wouldn't argue with your Cucurella choice. I think he's been very, very good. I just like the idea of, Trufford's come in from Lille and stuff like that. He's come in to replace Kirkes, who was arguably one of Bournemouth's best players last year. And he's come in, and I'd say hasn't missed a heartbeat. Yeah. And for me, that was like, you know what? I'm gonna pop him in there just ahead of Cucurella, because obviously Cucurella is Spanish international. He's got a lot of experience at the Premier League and stuff like that, and would have done it for a number of years in the league.
He's come up a huge level, hasn't he, since the win with Spain? He was very good in the tournament.
Yeah, he was. He was. Yeah, he was. Absolutely. But no, I think again, you could have tossed a coin in that scenario for me between Cucurella and Trufford. So I went Trufford, you went Cucurella.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a wrong answer there, you know. Into the midfield, I think the first name obviously is Moise Caicedo. He's been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Really has. And when I looked at putting him in and who I was going to put in, I could have actually gone with the two Chelsea boys. I think Enzo's been excellent as well. He's certainly on my list of honourable mentions. Could have gone with both of them. Decided just to go with Caicedo and then back it up with Granit Xhaka. We spoke about him last week. He'll take out Haaland.
Couldn't take out Haaland. He has to be messing. He couldn't take out Haaland.
Has to be joking. Now, by the way, I think the boy Voltemad is going to be very, very good and has done phenomenal. Yeah. 3 goals in the last 3 games is super, but he's definitely not taking Haaland out. My God, he's been on another planet right now. I know he looks like he's from another planet, but he's actually played on a different planet in the last few weeks. He's been scary good for Manchester City. Caicedo and Xhaka for me has just been unbelievable. He's just been so good. I think he's one of the reasons Sunderland are where they are at the minute, and where they're not kind of looking below them, they're looking above and saying, okay, where can we get to it, rather than what's going to chase us down, I love Elliot Anderson. I'm such a big fan of Elliot Anderson, and the only reason why I didn't put him in was Forest have been dog shit. They really have. And I was kind of like, oh, can I put a guy in whose team has been that poor? It would be similar
and formation, obviously.
Well, like I could have popped Anderson in instead of Xhaka, and stuff like that. But I just thought, and the only reason, and I'll tell you how big of a fan. That's a great save, Jordan Pickford. Wow, what a save! I will tell you. Do you know what, Romy? That would make me extremely happy. I'll tell you how happy, and this is what I was
already linked. He's already linked with us, isn't he?
Yeah, I'll tell you how happy that would make me. I'd take Elliot Anderson over Carlos Baleba.
Definitely based on this season so far.
I would take him over Carlos Baleba for a couple of different reasons. I think with Baleba, there's a he's frantic, he's everywhere, he's up, he's down, he's on, he's off, right? And he's hustle and bustle, and there's energy. And listen, we absolutely do need that. We need that energy in our team. However, when I look at the boy Anderson, I think he does a very similar job, but he makes it look way less difficult because he doesn't have to go.
He does it. I describe it. He does it without pulling the pin out of the grenade.
It's just so controlled.
Yeah. He's slick, isn't he?
And
he's slick
in
the way
very slick. And I'm just thinking, do you know what? this is what I want from a midfielder. He's strong, where he's got the elbows and he's leaning on people and stuff like that. He's got an engine that he can do it for 90 minutes and not run out of gas. He can pick a pass. He can head the ball. Like, I think he's got everything. Whereas I think, and I mentioned this before, and I know people think at times when I'm saying things, I'm saying them because they're not necessarily Man United players. I'm going to say this because I don't feel like anybody should be spending 100 million on a guy that runs around a lot. Like, if, and that's, I'm not playing down how good Carlos Believe is. He's a super footballer. Are you going to get 10 goals and 10 assists from him in a season? Absolutely not. He's not going to affect play like that. And I think if I'm going to go out and spend 100 million or a percentage of 100 million, I want a little more. And I think Anderson for me is a little more than Believe is. I just think that slickness, that cool, calm customer. Like, I like the energy from Believe, but I'm not sure that's something I want to throw into a Man United team. That running around crazy sort of,
Do you know what it is as well? Especially, and it might be only a young thing as well, but especially, in that moment where you have to pick that assist or hit that ball on target. If you're kind of that little bit, I wouldn't like to call it erratic, but you know what I mean? Erratic in possession kind of thing.
Yeah,
and then it's like, yeah, a bit like, remember Darwin used to create this chaos. And then when it came time clutch to put the ball in the back of the net. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Now, obviously, listen, Believer will get away with it a little more because we're not expecting 30 goals a season.
Mm.
However, there's still moments and opportunities to do stuff at certain times in the game. And I don't necessarily want him to be the one on the ball when there's an opportunity to put the ball into an area. Do you know what I mean? Now, I do think the two boys would complement each other massively. If you were to get an Anderson in who could be slick and just keep the ball ticking and ticking and ticking, and then you had this energy running around, this ball of fulls around them, But if we're only going to go and get one of them, for me, I think the boy Anderson is the safer bet. I really, really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Romy, I have no idea what's going on with Kanate at the moment. He's all over the place at the moment. I think he's had his head turned. I just wonder whether you will still want him or not, like the way he's playing and stuff, I seen Upamecano as well was linked with United today as well. Noel, can I get 3 cheers for Sevilla for slapping Spotify FC 4-1? Absolutely. 100%. Things kind of just, it's weird as well because we've spoken about Liverpool just being kind of off and stuff like that and all. And Barcelona kind of feel that same way as well, Lots and lots of talent, but just kind of off,
Struggling to, Barca are struggling a little bit to get everyone on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
It seems to be they get one back, somebody else takes a step out. They get him back, somebody else drops off. It's been very bit part for Barca so far this season.
Yeah.
And I think that's been tough for Hansi Flick,
Barca plays in that way like Man City when they lost Rodri. It's a kind of a system way of playing, isn't it? And it kind of like you really feel it when if you lose a Pedri or if you lose whoever, it affects it really,
Look at the amount of young, talented, absolute ballers they have. Like from Yamal to the boy Ferran Torres to Kubarsi, Pedri, Gavi. Like, it's just Rafinha. It's phenomenal what they've been able to do there. And don't forget, Barca are a club who have been massively under pressure financially over the last few years. So to do what they've been able to do, I gotta give them a lot of respect for it, I really do. Now, I know, listen, they went down the Chelsea route of selling this and selling that, and but it's to keep it ticking on the pitch is admirable, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and to still at times go in and sign players, and like they've had to go in on loans and various things. Like they've had to greatly mod. It's like kind of. It's nearly like that kind of spoiled kid who's had all the riches and gone to Trinity and suddenly has to go to a local kind of college or something like that.
Well, listen, now he's in Little Boy and Beans and Bagels, right? And you're like, wow, I got it,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Spotify FC, I have to admit.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's the one thing that sets them apart, Romy. Because I imagine it's your biggest frustration as a Real fan. Like, Real just don't seem to create the players that Barca do in La Masia and stuff like that. It's almost mythical what they do. It's scary. And like Madrid for me are just as big a football club, if not bigger, but they do it in such a different style. It's a different fashion in how they do it, and it is very different. Very different.
Absolutely. Right, where were we? We were talking about the midfields.
Yeah, we were looking at the midfield, and I obviously went Caicedo and Xhaka, and then I backed it up then with Bruno Guimaraes. I'm a huge Bruno Guimaraes fan. Really, really am. Probably a little bit higher there than he'd usually play. That's you've hit the nail on the head, pal. I kind of look at it there, and I've gone with Xhaka as me 6, Caicedo as me box-to-box 8, and Bruno Guimaraes as me 10, either side, or trapped in between these two talented wingers. I'm not sure. I think Semenyo for me has been just unbelievable. The 2 goals the last night against Fulham were just electric.
It's just his whole application, isn't it? It's his whole application.
I think that's a really good word. I think application is good because there's work rate, there's endeavour, there's a level of skill, there's a level of composure,
tenacity,
there's tactical. It's just everything. Hit it. Good.
He's tenacious. He's tenacious.
Bonnie, Scotland lead 2-1 in the 80th minute. Let's see, who have we got? A man I know well. I spoke about him a few weeks ago. Lewis Ferguson, the boy from Bologna. I think you'll remember me saying I watched him play for Bologna last year against Lazio. A really tidy footballer, this kid. Really, really tidy footballer. Still only 26 years of age. A lot of football clubs could do with a Lewis Ferguson in their team. Really nice midfielder, I have to say.
He's still up Bologna, yeah?
He's still up Bologna. He's still there. Yeah. They sold a lot of the crown jewels, but they kept him.
Cool. Anyway, Semenyo, yeah?
Yeah, it's the total package, isn't it? It's the total package. It really is. And the crazy thing is, and I'm going to Google this, I think, did they pay something along the lines of 8 million from?
I don't think it was big.
So anyway. I know he came from Bristol City because I remember him at Bristol City. Let me see. I think it was about 8 Semenyo to Bournemouth. On the 27th of January, 2023, Semenyo completed a transfer to Bournemouth worth 10 million sterling.
10 million.
10 million. Now, if you want to buy that kid today, you're talking north of 75 million for me.
Easily. And do you know the thing about it is next summer you're going to have a whole collection of clubs in a nasty, nasty auction for that lad. Yeah, so be interesting to see what he does.
Just such a good player. Just has absolutely everything going on. I think he's a great
versatility as well.
Played all the way across the front three. I've seen him play 9. I've seen him play right, which is generally where he plays. And I mean, the last night he got the 2 goals against Fulham. He's on the left-hand side. It's just unbelievable.
If you're his agent, where's the best fit for him? Who are you thinking?
I think if I'm his agent, I still want to see him play in a tricky winger sort of role, yeah. Which means you straight away get to take certain options off the table. So, like, does it work at Man City? don't really think so, because, you know, Pep likes you to go down the line, and when it doesn't work, he wants you to come back in, check, keep possession of the ball, switch it across, and do the whole right. I don't think it works at City. I think I'm not sure whether he would work in the 10 system that we play. You know, now listen, maybe he goes in and does a sterling job as one of the 10s, because again, he can go both sides and whatever. But I don't necessarily think that's where we play him.
Would he have been in the summer higher on your list than the 2 10s you got?
No, and for no other reason. And I said this at the time, like,
jeez, Austria are beating San Marino 10-0.
Not for any other reason than the fact I thought the 2 boys we got were the perfect fits for what we were trying to do. And I said this at the time, and I'm not changing that. Like, I think Mbeumo's been excellent for us. He's been very, very good. He just looks a Rolls Royce. He really does. Cooney obviously has had the injury and hasn't got the goal yet, but I've no doubt, you know, a couple more games, he'll get his goal, and then we'll start to see. I think these are ideal. And I also don't necessarily think that at times certain players going to big clubs is what's right for them. Do you know what I mean? Where could I see Semenyo? I think, and you might like this, is he not a ready-made replacement for Mount?
100%.
He is, isn't he?
100%.
And can go onto the opposite side if needs be. And you know, you can have a little bit of fluidity across the front there, and I think he would be a phenomenal fit at Liverpool. Now, do I think he's going to go if Salah's in front of him? I'm not sure. He may see it as he's being blocked. Whereas I think if he was to say, right, you know, there's a spot for me at City, I think I could get into the City team quicker or whatever. Although I don't think City's a good fit for a winger, me personally. We
spoke about him on the left-hand side as well.
You did. And like, listen, he could go on the left and Salah on the right, and Isak up front and stuff like that. And I think if you can get Salah pouring, that might work. But, you know, in the same vein, if you wanted to, if you are Arsenal, you go with Saka on the right, you go with Semenyo on the left, you go with Eze behind Gyökeres, and you play Rice and Marino in the middle. Is that scary? Saka and Semenyo, Eze and Gyökeres, Marino and Rice, and then you've already got your back four and your goalkeeper. I think that's outrageous. Like, absolutely outrageous.
And you still have Zubimendi, you still have Odegaard.
Well, you've Zubimendi in with Rice. Sorry, it was Zubimendi I meant.
Not Moreno,
Not Moreno. It's Zubimendi. And then you've got your Odegaard, your Madueke, your Lewis Skelly, your Ita Wanyeri. You have a lot of these, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Romy,
the Arsenal, honest to God, Romy, like, I think that's scary to go in with that. Honest to God, that's some team. Really is. I think Arsenal, you know, we did say at the start of the season, I think they did a real good job of adding quality to that squad, you know. Hincapi, Mosquera, Eze, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, they added Madueke. I'm not going to say quality Madueke because it'd hurt me. But, you know, they padded that squad out a lot. They really did. And I think...
But didn't have to turn the blueprint upside down either.
No.
Which is kind of what we're suffering. Which is what we're suffering at the moment. Yeah.
You bought really good players, but you didn't necessarily buy players for the positions and for the formation that you play.
We've brought in new players, tried to bed them in, and we've also turned the blueprint upside down. So not only we're trying to figure out the formation and the system, we're also trying to bed in new players at the same time, and it's really difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. What else have we got there? So Haaland, I mean,
speaks for itself. And then on the left-hand side, again, for me, it was a toss-up. I think Grealish has been excellent, and it's great to see him back playing with a smile on his face and stuff like that. He's been very, very good. I just think Doku's taking it up a notch. I just think he's taking it up a notch. And maybe it's a thing where he's looking around and he's going, Savinho, Cherky, Tiani Reinders, Phil Foden. Few boys have come in here. Like, if I don't get my finger out, I ain't playing games here.
And if you get sat down, it's very hard to get back in under Pep, isn't it?
Well, you're waiting on somebody to make a mistake in order to facilitate you getting back in. Yeah, 100%. So, I think he's done very, very well as well.
And we've said probably even last season as well. We were waiting for this boy to show us the Doku that he is. Well, at times he's been good, but he's flattered really to deceive at times as well.
So I would liken him. Yeah, I would liken him now. This is at a lesser level, but I would have him in a very similar conversation to a Luis Diaz. Picks up the ball, drives, very direct, beats players, does this, does that, does this, does that, but then loses the ball, doesn't score, hits a post, hits a crossbar, defender blocks it, and I'm like, I love what you're doing. I just need them to be goals or assists. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the one thing that he started to do. Now, I think Diaz was certainly better at it than Doku was, but I think Doku now he's also maturing as well.
He's beginning to make the right decision in that key moment. Everything was brilliant till he gets to that moment. And that's where I had to let him down, because his in-play is very, very good. It's just when he gets to that moment of picking a pass or taking a shot or providing an assist, it was always kind of picking the wrong option. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think more often than not, a lot of the options was me trying to do something to make me look good. Whereas by putting the ball on a sixpence for a Haaland or a Reinders or whoever, that's putting you forward, because you're given output. You don't have to be the scorer of the goal. The assist is as good at times, or even more important, But I think he tried to do an awful lot by himself, and now he's bringing others into it, and because he's doing that really well, I think we're seeing a much better version of him.
What do you think of this, Romy? The Everton deal permanent. Is that going to be something they're going to be able to deal financially? Is it only financial that will hold it back? And naturally, they'd want them, I'd imagine.
Everton will want them, and I think Grealish will do all he can to make sure that deal happens. I don't think he's going to make the mistake again of saying, okay, I've had a great season at Everton, however, Spurs want me down the road. I think if he's enjoying himself at Everton are playing well, and he's goals and he's assists and he's back involved with England, I think he'll say, do you know what? I don't need to go anywhere else. I'm happy here. I trust David Moyes. That'll work for him. I don't think he'll try and be too clever and look for a move anywhere else. The only thing will stop him is obviously finances. Excuse
me. He needs to feel like he's the guy in the team, doesn't he? He needs to feel like he's the focal point.
Yeah. He needs to be, he needs to be that rider over figure, for want of a better word, because that's what he was at Aston Villa. That's what brought him to the dance. He was corners, free kicks, throw-ins, penalties, goal kicks at Villa. And that's what he'll want to be at Everton. That's what he's done, and he does look like he's a real good character. He's a real good character. And every time I look at it, I just think he just wants to be loved.
Yeah.
He just wants to be loved. And I think he's come at a real good time to Everton. Because obviously escaping relegation, you get David Moyes back in to steady the ship, and then you open this amazing new stadium. And everything's just come at the right time. And it's landed in his lap, and he's gone, you know what, I'm going to take this and run with it. And he's dead right. He's doing excellent.
He's the kind of player, am I right in your thinking? He's the kind of player that you'd want in a World Cup camp.
Yeah. Like, excuse me. I think he's a great character where You
You know when
he
people are
doesn't take
missing
himself
their
too.
families and
Yeah.
missing their
He
kids.
doesn't take himself too seriously.
Mm.
And because of that, I think he's the type of character you'd want around that, when you were having a quiet day and when people were starting to miss family and stuff like that, Jack would probably beat Scotland 3-1, 93 minutes. That's a big result for Scotland. I think Jack will probably be walking around the hotel with a pair of pants on his head or something, just to give everyone a bit of crack. And
he's the guy. He's the guy who'll walk into that room, drop that one-liner, and change your day.
Lyndon Dykes for Scotland came on the 83rd, got the third in the 93rd. Scotland back tied with Denmark at the top of that group. That's a big result for Scotland there tonight. Real big. Stolen a march on Greece there tonight. Great victory. Well done, Scotland. I think he's the kind of guy you want. And you know what? I reckon he's loved. I reckon the other guys love him. And I'd say when they get to an England camp now and they look around the dressing room, they go, what are we missing? I'd say there's a few lads look and go, where's Jack?
Personality.
Just, that Gaza figure, that bubbly character, that,
Yeah.
That just,
I think so. If it wasn't going to be Everton, where's the other fit if you're his agent?
Where is another fit? Well, I think he needs game time. So I think that limits some of the contacts. And
obviously cost.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of teams can probably sort out the costing of it. I think costings at Spurs wouldn't be an issue, but I don't necessarily think I'd want him in a Thomas Frank team. I don't think Frank gives us, certainly as forwards, the kind of freedom you would want to operate.
And the draw of London as a lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm not sure it'd work for Jack, to be honest with you. Do you think there's a possibility that he goes back to Villa? If Villa were to move on the likes of a Morgan Rogers, right? And they got north of 80 million for Morgan Rogers, yeah? Could they then decide, listen, we're going to bring Jack in for 50 and pocket 30 and give him that role behind Ollie Watkins and let him feed them? And
be an incredible circle of business considering they got 100 for him.
I think that goes. I think that probably works as well. The other real good fit for me the other one that I really want to fit but doesn't is Newcastle, because I think he struggles to get in ahead of either Elanga or Anthony Gordon. I think Anthony Gordon is outrageous. I really do. And I think unless they play him as a 10, and they generally don't play a 10 in the system, it's the three midfielders. Now, listen, maybe they decide we're putting a 10 in behind Voltemad and we're taking out with John Linton and we're going to make Bruno play a little bit deeper alongside Tonali. Then you're messing with, the makeup of it. But if you're telling me you can take out with John Linton and put in a more creative Jack Grealish to feed the likes of a Gordon and an Elanga and a Voltemad, would that'd be phenomenal for Newcastle. But I don't know if Eddie Howe wants to change things.
It's a club as well. We're looking at clubs where that fan connection with the player, that love, that bond, that relationship that flourishes, that just
Jack Grealish
when you go out on the pitch gives you that other 10-15%
at Newcastle. Absolutely revered. And for what he does on the pitch, but for the character he'd be off it as well.
Yeah. Big up, Keith. Safe trip. Make sure you hit us up as well. Keith's going over to the Comic-Con in Scotland this weekend.
Oh, nice, Keith. Not a bad evening for a Keith, yeah.
I think on Saturday on the channel as well, himself and Dave are doing a watch along as well for Crown Jewel. So check that out, folks. If wrestling is your thing,
good man, Keith.
Watch along for Crown Jewel as well. Romy Enzo really upped this game to say as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Grealish will be busting his balls to get back in the England setup and have him in his legs, and he could do that at Everton. Yeah, absolutely. Spot on.
100%.
If I was Grealish going Newcastle, then Geordie Birds are smoking.
I certainly wouldn't disagree with you, Romy.
That's probably the manager's fear. that would be the fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose the only difference in my team as well in there is I had Wharton in there as well, who I think is a phenomenal player as well. And I would imagine his time at Crystal Palace may come to an end as well. He's very, very good.
Listen, he's another one of these kids who's come in. He obviously came in from Blackburn, and he's elevated what he does. You know, I heard, and I don't know whether you watched this. Did you watch the Rio Ferdinand Steven Gerrard interview? Did you watch this?
Yeah, I didn't realize he was such a Man United fan. Just saying.
Well, I'm not sure.
I think he was fair. He was fair.
He was fair. Now listen, he obviously spoke about Paul Scholes, and he said, you know, I think Scholes in this Premier League would be untouchable because the only way to get at him was to tackle him, was to shoulder him now. And he said, with the protection that they get now, he said, I think he'd be outrageous. I think Wharton's as close to Scholes as what's out there at the minute. Like, again, sits in the pocket, picks it up, pops it off, picks it up, pops it off, dictates the play, sprays it here, sprays it there, sprays it here. So
no waste of energy. No waste
of energy. Just real. Now, again, not a great tackler at times. You know, when you see him make a tackle, you go, oh, yellow card. Oh, no. But, like, just a real good footballer, this kid. I think his ceiling is massive. I think his ceiling is absolutely massive.
Where's your fifth one? Or could you have multiple fits, I'd imagine, yeah?
For Wharton, I think, you know what? You know where I think he might end up? I think he might end up at Man City.
Interesting.
I think Pep would love a guy as clever as Adam Wharton on the ball, and a guy who is able to be that economical with the ball, just never coughs it up, just pops it, gets it, pops it, gets it, you know, screens quite well. I think an Adam Wharton would go down very well in a Pep Guardiola team. He would be a different sort of a player than a Rodri, but I think he would play in a very similar sort of position. And I think Pep would teach him a few little bits on how to play that position. Because don't forget, it was generally Pep's position as well. Pep either played in the centre-back role or he played in that maybe defensive midfield role. So he knows how to play it. And he's had some good guys play that role for him. I think Wharton could do a serious job at Manchester City. That's where I'd see him, to be honest with you. Because again,
Paul Scholes, all-round midfielder. Even to this day, I'd have him at Madrid over Beckham.
Yeah, well, like, they were different because obviously Scholes was a centre midfielder and Beckham wasn't. He could play centre midfield, but he invariably played out wider on the right because they made better use of that ball and whipping it in and stuff like that. You know, I think Scholes is up there, and he's revered by a lot of ex-players and stuff. Like the amount of players you talk to, who's the best player you ever played against? Like, I'm listening to this Zidane. Zidane says Paul Scholes. Xavi says Paul Scholes. Iniesta says Paul Scholes. Steven Gerrard, Thierry Henry. All these lads pick this little ginger lad. Like, if that's not a ringing endorsement of how good this lad was, it's, you know what I mean? It's scary. It really is. But I just think I listened to what Steven said.
He must have been a great professional to manage as well, because never in trouble, probably in bed every night when he should be, never any trouble brought to the
hated the limelight, absolutely hated the limelight, just wanted to go in, kick the ball around.
Do you ever remember when he used to do post matches and it'd be like the ground's just eating him up? He never wanted to talk on the mic or be able to do that. He was nearly embarrassed at picking up man of the matches and stuff like that at times.
And he picked up a few of them as well, by the way.
Absolutely.
And like a scorer of great goals, by the way.
Are we amazed at his career and the lack of Ballon d'Or, even at a nomination level? I read an article the other day, apparently, that he's never even been nominated.
I think
that's insane.
Well, I think when you look at it in relation to a lot of
the timing
talk,
of who
well,
he
a
was.
lot of the talk as well, because like that, if you're talking Xavi, Iniesta, Zidane, Henry, Gerrard, all these lads say his name, right? Like that then shocks me that he didn't get the nominations that we think he should have. But at the same time, he played with all those guys. He played in a Ballon d'Or with an Henry, you know, a Bergkamp, a Zidane, a Fat Ronaldo, you know, a Gerrard, you know, just a Xavi and Iniesta, a Ronaldinho, a Rivaldo, a Messi, you know, like.
But I only think about it, to have that body of work and career and to have never had a nomination, like, is insane to me.
Yeah, you know? I'd say there's I don't think it's something, certainly from our point of view, it's something we're discussing, but it doesn't strike me as he'll be worried about it, or
no, not at all.
He looks like a guy who's just so comfortable in his own
I think it's more a shock factor for fans than it would be for him personally. Because he didn't really care for individual awards anyway. You know what I mean? It was never
no. You know? At times, like, there was even a struggle to celebrate goals. You know?
Yeah.
You know, you'd see him score a goal and it's a worldie, and you're like, why isn't he running off into the crowd? And he was just, all right, thanks, lads, good luck.
It was like, do you know what it was? It was like at times throughout his career, he was pinching himself to really believe that he was living the dream. How did this little lad with ginger hair arrive on this stage to play?
This little lad from Oldham.
Yeah.
You know
what I mean?
And if you've been to Oldham, it's grim enough, like, you know, like it's not, it's fairly basic.
Do you think there was a lack of belief in himself?
I definitely don't think there was a lack of belief. No, I don't think belief, because again,
do you know the way sometimes we talk about players who don't realize how good they are until nearly their career ends, and then you look back and you go, wow.
No, I think I imagine, you know, certainly because he played under Ferguson, and I imagine Ferguson made everybody acutely aware of how good this guy was, you know. So I'd say he knew, and I'd say the manager wanted an awful lot from him. Hey, Ryan, I'll tell Ryan my little story in a minute about when I was in the gym yesterday, or Tuesday, wasn't it? Seeing somebody in a Wolves jersey, and the first thing I thought of, Ryan, I says, I wonder is that me mate Ryan? And it wasn't obviously Ryan, because it was a chick, but I was just, you know yourself, I was like, there's someone in a Wolves jersey. And the first thing that came to my mind, Ryan, was you. There you are, pal.
He was back in on the Monday show as well, with me and Mark.
Good man, Ryan.
Great
man. It's good to see you.
Roll me, backing up your point, makes Chernobyl look like Disneyland.
It's not great, God bless it. But there's we visited Oldham for a particular reason. They have a thing called Smashville, and it's a burger restaurant. Smashville is the name of it, and it's in this garage, and the garage has all the American sweets and the primes and all this, and the burger place is in the petrol station, right? Okay. And that's why we went to Oldham. Now the food out of it is absolutely electric. I think I spent about £50 on burgers and wings and fries and all this jive and milkshakes, and then I think I spent £40 sterling on sweets and American candies and packets of crisps and bottles of prime and all the. I think I dropped nearly £100 sterling in this petrol station.
Romy reckons it was the only place that wasn't rebuilt after World War II.
Yeah, that's right. And you know the weirdest thing, and I don't know if Romy will know this or not, I think the home ground is Boundary Park, is I think the home ground, right? But we were driving down the road, and there's a cul-de-sac, and it looks like neighbours, so to speak. Like, you know, it has this little horseshoe, and there's 4 or 5 houses, and they're all terraced houses. And I'm looking at this house, and at the back of it, I can see the stand overlooking the house. And I'm like, is that it's lamped in the middle. It's lamped right in the middle of a housing estate. Like, right in the middle of it.
This is kind of like Luton, just in.
Well, Luton's yes, but Luton's the old terrace style. This is like a housing estate, very different than Luton. Luton does a lot of high streets and stuff like that, and it's a very built-up sort of a town. This is in a housing estate. It's bizarre.
It's like the jockey pub, shameless.
It's bizarre. What a TV series, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
my God, what a series!
Looking back, wasn't it Oldham that were on the cusp of putting you out of the cup or something? Bar
91 or 92.
Mark Hughes Worldy to bring it to a replay, was it?
Royal, that's right. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Who got the? I'm trying to think. Was it? Who was the lad played up front for them? Was it Ian Ritchie with the long hair?
I think it might have been. Yeah. Going back a bit there.
He got the.
I just remember
there's another Reno in the comments. Look at that. There's our pal, the Dynamo, back in action. Ian Kelly.
Don't forget to check out his show, folks, today that dropped on the Dynamo's Dozen with Peter Smith. Yeah, I watched it today. Very good. Good to have you back, pal, laddie.
Absolutely.
It was good. Yeah, he'll also appreciate my inclusion of Cucurella, no doubt. I'm waiting on the comment. And our inclusion of Caicedo.
Yeah, I if I was going to put a second Chelsea player in, it was going to be Enzo. I thought about Caicedo and Enzo, and I went, you know what, I'll just put Caicedo in. I would have really, really struggled to put Cucurella in because I genuinely hate him.
I did struggle, but just his
hate's a strong word, but he's a really unlikable character.
Yeah.
He really is. He's a really unlikable character.
Isn't he one of those that if he plays for you, you'll love him, but if he's against you, you just look at him, you go, he kind of has Bruno whiff about him.
No, not Bruno. Do you know how I'm gonna tell you? I'll rub you up the wrong way here. He's got Luis Suarez vibes. Okay. He's got Luis Suarez vibes for me. He's just a horrible human. You know, he makes me, he looks me, you're not wrong. He just makes me skin crawl, the little creep. Whereas, like, yeah, there you go.
But the talent is undeniable.
Listen, he's a good fullback. He's a very good fullback. Whereas the boy Caicedo, like, unbelievable footballer and like a likable sort of guy. Even when he's breaking stuff up and he's hassling and he's harrying, he does it with a smile on his face. He's not a whinge. The Cucurella lad is a whinge. He's always pissing and moaning in referees' faces and at linesmen and making little and you're like, shut up, man.
You know what I do think as well when I see him? Robert Pires.
Oh, he's just the
remember Robert Pires for Arsenal, and he used to be cold, lads, doing all that. Remember, he was just
he's so infuriating. He never leaves the referee in the linehouse alone. He's just constantly whinging in their ears, and I'm like, Paul, you just shut up and play football. Like, honest to God, how someone in the chat, how Enzo, because again, I'm an Enzo fan. How Enzo hasn't gotten, sorry, not Maresca, Fernandez. I don't want to upset Ian. I'm a Fernandez fan. I'm an Enzo Fernandez fan. How he hasn't got Cucurella in the dressing room and just gone, will you shut up and leave the referees alone, you little dope?
Sometimes you find that teams kind of need a little bit of that in them as well, though, don't they? To keep it on the edge. Even though we don't appreciate it and we don't like it. And actually, when you mentioned Caicedo there as well, we were talking about Scholes being so assuming post-match and stuff like that and all.
Yeah.
Why is Caicedo's like that as well? If you watch him post-match as well, he's very unassuming and, you know, very professional in his breakdown and how he does
it's not about the individual for him.
Yeah,
you scored a worldie today. How do you feel? Not great. We didn't win. Okay. You know.
You know, he's proper Chelsea. Love the little poodle. This is what I mean. If he's playing for you, I love him. If he's playing for you, I love him. You know, I say he's in that Spanish side. I'd say because they like that as well, don't they? They appreciate that.
Do you know what? You see in your team, you have Gabriel on the left-hand side. There's a pair of them in it. They're two towel rags. They're two towel rags.
We could actually top that off by putting Dean Henderson in nets. And then we'd have a 6-man.
You could absolutely top it
Yeah.
with Dean Henderson, because he's a
Yeah.
good wind-up merchant as well.
Yeah, Dean Henderson. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Right, so that was where our team so far, and I think what we'll do as well, we'll run it, we'll probably do a Christmas one as well, so it'll give us like 14 or 15 games or whatever it is then at that stage, you know.
Yeah, and there'll be a little bit of before and after, won't there?
Jericho special headlock if you signed them. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Right, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because, as you know, and you often say it, being a Man United fan for the last X amount of time has been an absolute slog. So when there's something nice to talk about, I want you to discuss that as well. I don't avoid it. That's the way it is. And it saves me having to talk about how bad Liverpool being, so I'm trying to avoid that as well. I've spoke about it enough on videos at this stage. It's gone insane. I'm only short of doing tactical breakdowns and systems and all that, and I hate doing that shit. It doesn't really interest me that much. Talk to me, Amaran. How did you feel about this? Is this something that should come out? Is this what you want to hear? Is this what we should be hearing? Because it's like, you know, you're going into an international break on the back of a win against Sunderland, which is not that it's not expected, but you still have to go out there and do it, and you have fallen to some of these teams in the past. So what was you thinking? You're going into the international break. Ratcliffe is talking stadiums, he's talking rebuilds, he's talking all this kind of stuff. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, we spoke about this off camera, not today, but previously, and I said what I would want from Ratcliffe was for him to come out, nail his flag to the mast, and say, this lad's in the job for the next 18 months to 2 years. Stop talking about him like he's going to be removed, because he ain't. And I said that will do an awful lot for Amarin. In the background, you get a lot more buy-in from players, and you create stability. I said this to you maybe 10 days ago.
Yeah, that bit of boardroom leadership for a change,
bit of backing, like, you know, and I seen him draw conclusions and stuff like that with Mikel Arteta and say, listen, look at his 50 games, they're not amazing. You know, it takes a bit of time to get your philosophy across. You're changing personnel, you're changing system. We don't have the pillars in place in the background. We're starting it. You know, obviously the boy Torpy has come in from Brentford. There's another lad yesterday is signed up to come in from Brentford. There's a doctor coming in from Arsenal. You got Wilcox. They're building in the background. There is a lot of off-field football activity being built up around, and infrastructure being built. You have the work that's gone on to the training ground. You have 4 players come into the starting 11, which is Lamens, Sesko, Cunha, and Mbumo. And you know, you've all the younger guys that they brought in for the academy, and to get, we've 2 more with that boy Dabo is on trial this week. That's after the other lad, the Colombian kid who signed as well. So Colombian captain and then the Senegalese captain. They're looking for a lot of these best in class kids, captains of national teams. You know, there's a lot of this going on. Does all of that make what happens on the pitch better automatically? No. But if you give it enough time, it will all feed into the same thing. You have to have a little bit of consistency. You don't want people to be second guessing, well, will I run through a brick wall for this lad, or is he going to be gone in 3 weeks? Because if you're gone in 3 weeks, I might hurt myself running through the brick wall, therefore I ain't doing it. Whereas now I think with Ratcliffe turning around and saying, this lad's here for the foreseeable, lads. Get used to it. We're going to buy him a midfielder in January. We're going to try and get him another centre-back next summer. Like, we're building. We're not changing. We're not going to build the first layer of bricks and then rip it down to start again. We're going to build. And we're going to build.
Is this Ratcliffe as well sending a message to the locker room as well, that some of the leaks had began again, and the player power shit and all the talking and, you know, stuff coming out that the players weren't happy with the system and the players weren't happy with the training? Is this Ratcliffe throwing his jacket on the manager and going, he's the manager, get behind the lads or fuck off kind of thing?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that as well, you know, and I think it's a good idea. I do. I think it's a good idea. I said to you, this is what I wanted to see.
Been a long time coming.
I wanted to see him back him and say, listen, he's our guy. We're not chopping. We're not changing. Yes, we expect results to be at a certain level. Yes, when they don't reach that level, we're going to ask why they haven't reached. But we can also have conversations about why they don't reach the level we expected them. You know, and we can be clever about this. Like, we can look at teams in the league and we can say, you know, such and such team doing really well, right? And then you can say such and such team not doing really well, but they're missing 2 or 3 of their best players at the minute. Therefore, it's really hard for them to, or they're doing this, or that, you know. So let's be logical about it. Let's not just go down the route of, we didn't win, he has to go. We didn't win, he has to go. We didn't win, he has to go. And that's...
Well, the perfect one from last weekend is obviously Oliver Glasner. Because everyone was going, Oliver Glasner, this, that, and the other, loses to Everton, and everyone goes then, ooh. You know what I mean? And it's like this is
because
19
Palace,
games, I think,
Palace
unbeaten,
lost.
Like,
Palace got tipped off in the 93rd minute,
yeah.
right? And you're like, does that make him a bad manager? No.
Welcome
and we have to stop. We have to stop judging them game to game. Managers need to be judged at the end of a season after they've gone through whatever they've done. Like, don't come to me after 7 games and be like, you know, what's the problem? Like, we changed our whole front three, right? Because we said we didn't have the quality to bring the amount of goals that we needed into the team. They brought in Mbumo, they brought in Cunha, they brought in Sesko, right? The boys have played less than 15 full games between them. And people are like, this lad's not good enough. This lad should never wear the jersey. I'm like, what? Sorry, what? What am I listening to? They've less than 15 games between the 3 of them.
I've been listening to Slat out.
Like, this is just... I might be Batman, but this is batshit crazy. This is batshit crazy. Like, honest to God. Like, you know, people, Sesko's terrible. What? Why is he terrible? Because he didn't hit the ground running in a game that we didn't maybe play very well in at Man City. If we judge it on how everyone plays against Man City, we're going to have lots of shit players by the end of the season. There's loads of lads going missing against Man City, and it was his 3rd game in the league. Like, we got to give time to these lads. There has to be time given. There has to be...
There's a lack of that, isn't it? Social media is kind of poisoned that.
There's a lack of understanding. Well, you know what happened, right? And my dad, God rest his soul, used to come up with this, you know, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody has them. The issue now is everybody now has them in public because they get to tell the public what they think. Tell them. Yeah. And with some lads, it's how loud can you shout?
Big up, Ted.
Good evening, Ted. I'd argue, Ted, that he's already shown me in 3 to 4 games that he's got way more about him than Hoyland does. Way more.
He certainly has a broader variety anyway, that's for sure.
Way more.
If the Glazers were still in charge of the football operations, they would have got rid of Amarin and threw mad money at Glasner. Ratcliffe's patience, I like.
Absolutely. I agree, Romy. I agree.
It's a show.
Yeah, I agree.
Talk to me about the ownership then.
Yeah,
excited, indifferent.
And there's definitely no excitement just yet. There's one comment obviously yesterday, with Turkey, and what he said.
He came out today saying it's not him or his people, it's UAE.
Yeah, and like, listen, that's possibly Sheikh Jassim again. There's talk that it's another lad, another Saudi lad actually. It's a prince something, but listen, I think there's there's a little more meat on the bone before we get down to the bone to find out what this is gonna be. Like, are they taking another 25% off the Glazers? How is this going to work? You know, are they taking, I assume they're not taking any part of what Ratcliffe has. And, you know, since he's been the last one in the door and he's in charge of football operations, it will tell me the likelihood is it ain't going to be him. So then do they come in and take a percentage of what the Glazers have? And if they do, is that now a situation where you've got 3 different votes happening at the same meeting, where you've got the Glazer vote, the Ineos vote, and the oil money vote? Like, that makes stuff difficult then, because if there's alliances, one of these people is going to feel like they're not getting something out of this. You know? Now, maybe it's a thing where the Glazers feel like they're being cast aside because Radcliffe and the guys from the UAE are putting something together. I don't know, but it'll be strange it'll be interesting to see how it evolves a little bit. You know, it's still quite new.
It's so difficult when these things come up, isn't it? Because there's at times with the Glazers, there's a lack of sincerity about business and business practice and the way they approach it, so they can, and the different kind of stuff that's leaked from the club and stuff like that gets fans excited of a new ownership, and, you know, maybe getting rid of the debt and all that kind of thing, pushing on new stadium, all that kind of stuff, all that other big development stuff that you want to see happening for a club the size of Man United, which should be happening, you know. And I just think sometimes that lack of sincerity makes people very nervous that these guys are only pushing it out there to whack the value, to manipulate the share price, whatever it is. And that often happens. And then they get to the well and then they go, no, we're not dropping the bucket down into the water, basically. And it's highly frustrating. But I think if there is going to be a move, I don't think they'd hardly be bringing in them, would they, to take a 25% stake or something like that, or a 20% stake. And they've expressed themselves that they're not interested in that either, that they want, if they're coming in, they're coming in. They're not bit part owners with the world that they live in.
Yeah, like, you'd assume that they're at least going to take enough to have the majority share in, which would give them a casting vote, so to speak. They want a minimum 51%, right? Like, I don't see going to the well for 49%. That doesn't make sense.
Well, it didn't last time. I mean, that was part of the issue last time, wasn't it? That they wanted control of the club. If they
so
wedge in.
You know, we'll see. It'll be a slow
and
play.
I can't imagine for these guys either being in business with the Glazers would be palatable on the tongue, I'd imagine. You know what I mean? Because there's a massive level of the way they've done business ultimately has at times very much failed the club. And
absolutely.
I don't think that's the kind of business.
That's not the club. Saddle the club with debt and interest and, you know, and stuff like that. So, absolutely.
Yeah, basically told the time with someone else's watch, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how I describe it. But, so it's interesting that it's come up again now. And, of course, as you say, like, paper doesn't refuse ink, and it is an international break, so there's not a whole lot really going on. So when these stories come up, they're always very interesting. But I think as you spoke about there, with everything that's going on and all the other things they're trying to put in place, and, you know, the talk of the new stadium and all this other stuff as well, I think it's tailor-made. You can't really go into those things saddling that type of debt.
It's very, I think there's a lot of positive news stories at Manchester United at the minute, with, you know, the recruitment that's been done behind the back from the, you know, in non-footballing roles, so to speak, not player roles. Correct. The recruitment, obviously, that's happening on the pitch. The recruitment for the academy, the upgrade in the training ground, the proposal for the new stadium. Like, this is Man United coming back to being Man United, and coming back to being one of the biggest clubs in world football again, not just in name, but for infrastructure, for you know, from a footballing point of view for on field. That's what this is all being driven towards. And I think, and I like the idea of what Radcliffe is saying, that, you know, if we look at everything that's being done behind the scenes, the last place we'll see all that is actually on the pitch. But that doesn't mean we don't keep putting pillars in place and keep pouring water in a certain direction, because eventually it's going to start flowing the way we want it to. And I think it's really clever, to be honest.
The problem you have is what happens on the pitch is what creates the narrative. That's the issue. And if you're on the pitch and you're getting pumped every week, or you're not winning 2 games on the bounce, or you're not doing this, or you don't feel like you're competing, or you're out of Europe and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about the Arsenal doctor coming
and there's,
in.
that's the way they think. There's some fans who previously would have said that this was a publicity stunt or this was propaganda in order to take the eye off what was going on the pitch. However, most recently there's been some positive results, so there wasn't a necessity to do it. This has all been done because it's been happening organically, so to speak, you know?
Yeah. No, it was interesting. Just wanted to get your thoughts on it, because they did come up, and it is important, and it is important to realise. And this is what we spoke about as well, that like results on the pitch and performance on the pitch are really, really important as well. They can't be denied, and they trickle down into that feel-good feeling, that confidence, that extra 10, 15, 20%, that interest in the club, that development in the club, everything that goes on and everything that needs to push on to put Man United back to where it was and where it should be. It should have never had the last decade or whatever it is that it's had. Right. Great show. Fun show. Really enjoyed putting the teams together. We had a great chat this morning on it and all the debate and
sure did.
All that kind of thing. And as I did, I brought you a bit of Man United positivity. So, like, I'm that guy. Remember?
And I'm going to come and see you in the morning, everything.
That's right. You're going to come and see me in the morning. Romy's in. Great show. Really appreciate it, Romy.
Thanks, Romy.
I think we're back on Monday with Mark. We don't have an interview lined up yet, I don't think. But what we are going to do is I'm going to come up with another idea for another show with Mark and have a bit of crack. Missed the start. Did Verts make it into the teams? Now, here's the 2 teams, Ted, if you want a quick look.
Don't mind Ted. He's only on the wind-up.
Yeah, Ted, now Liverpool or United player. Didn't even get near the bench. Did you give us your honourable mentions, by the way? Just before we go, actually.
I didn't, but I'll give you them very quickly. So
as we've now beat the bookie around there. So
goalkeepers, Pickford and Raya.
Yeah.
Defenders, O'Reilly at City.
Pickford, Raya, and Dean Henderson, probably.
Possibly. Munoz from Palace. I'm a big fan of the boy Jan-Paul van Hecke at Brighton.
Scored at the weekend.
Yeah. Midfield, Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson. You obviously had him in your team. And João Paulinho at Spurs. Been very, very good for Spurs. And then up at the Toon Army, Voltemad for Newcastle. He was my honourable mention in the striking department, shall we say. So that was just a few other names that kind of got into the conversation but didn't make it as far as the paper, you know.
And don't worry, Palace fans. You can say I don't carry any hate or any of that kind of thing. We did also speak about Eric Mitchell as well and what a season he's having as well. Definitely.
Absolutely. And if, by the way, like, if we go and play a 3 at the back, Mitchell and Munoz get the 2 wing back spots for me. That's not even a question. You know, it was just that we were playing 2 flat, and that's why we didn't. So yeah.
Right, well, that's it, folks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. Try and enjoy the international break. I'm enjoying it anyway. There you go. Not because of international football, but because I don't have to focus too much on what's going on at the club level at the moment.
Absolutely.
But until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like on the video. Ted reckons, I think Vert should be in the striking department, being on strike since he signed.
Ted going in with the 2 feet tonight.
Ted, these receipts will be collected when this boy comes good. This guy hasn't suddenly become a bad player. Be careful. A lot of people are there'll be a lot of screenshots taken when this boy comes good. That WhatsApp group will be lit up, my friend. Lit up. Enjoy your week. I will chat to you in the morning.